with a mold issue and we find a simple answer. Plus, we help another homeowner who refuses help. We'll talk about that. Plus, we actually have an economy right now that's rough on the real estate industry. How would that be affecting the value of your home? Well, we're gonna talk about that and give you some answers. Also, and on the news desk, we have a follow-up to the mystery car that was found in someone's backyard.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have some answers to that. That's all coming up. This plus more in 1 minute on the Home Pros Radio Show.
The Home Pros Radio Show. Brought to you by Prime Lending. Home loans made simple. Welcome to the Home Pros Radio Show, the premier resource for the well-informed homeowner. With over 30 years of combined home inspection and renovation experience, your hosts, Tommy Donovan and Shane Hips, help you stay on top of your home improvement and home maintenance needs. Visit homeprosradio.com to access the trusted product and service providers that are a part of our Home Pros network. Find the Home Pros Radio Show on Facebook and Twitter for regular show updates and additional information on the topics covered on our show. To join the conversation, call 248-HOME-PROS. And now, your Home Pros, Tommy Donovan and Shane Hips.
And welcome to the Home Pros Radio Show. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections.
And I'm Shane Hips with Closing Contractor.
And this is your choice, your destination.
Okay.
Your source. That's
Source.
the word I was trying to think of.
Good word.
For the advice, tips, and tricks that every homeowner needs to make sure your home is in the best shape possible. That's really the whole the concept behind doing the Home Pros Radio Show is get that information out there for you, for other home inspectors, real estate agents, for homeowners to help out with all the things. This is a constantly changing industry. In fact, I've got a meeting this weekend with the State Association of Home Inspectors.
Okay.
Where we're going over all the new code changes.
Oh.
That are going to be adopted, at least in the state of South Carolina, coming up.
Oh, boy.
Come January. So
now I'm going to have home inspectors writing up things that are code instead of what their opinion is, and then everything that's grandfathered in from 10 years ago, and yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
I can see what your meeting's going to create for me.
Well,
I hope you have fun at your meeting.
This will be a good meeting, because one of the things that we do discuss is, like, this is what the codes say now. How are we going to address it? You
Correct.
know what I'm saying? That's the most important part for us.
Yeah.
Is because, things change over time. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of what I was getting into with the T's. There's one homeowner that I tried to help this week. And she was refusing my help.
She didn't want to
hear. And I was trying to help. Because what we do with this show here is we try to inform you as a listener, like, this is what is common practice. This is what's commonplace in the building industry and homes and the real estate process and all this stuff. Well, I got this call a couple days ago. Okay. I'd already been warned about this homeowner. Here's what happened. Back in August, I did a home inspection for a client.
Okay.
Who was selling their house.
Gotcha.
So
a pre-listing?
Yes.
Okay. Pre-listing.
So I went through everything and provided the report.
Yep.
And the real estate agent, the listing agent, I was doing another inspection for her a couple of weeks ago. She goes, "Oh, just so you know, I'm going to court." And I'm like, "Why?" And she goes, "Remember that house on this street?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Well, the buyer came in and didn't have her own inspection, didn't do any of the other stuff, just bought the house. So now she's like complaining about stuff that she's seeing in the house, and she's saying I'm at fault. So she's threatening to take her to court." And I was like, "Oh." And she goes, "Well, do whatever." And so she was like, "I'm not worried about it. We're going to win."
Right.
And so I get a call a couple days ago.
From the buyer.
From this new homeowner.
Okay.
Who wasn't my client.
Right.
And she was like, I had, this is an older home, has about maybe 3 inches of insulation in the attic. So I wrote up, hey, consider, it does not required, but consider adding insulation in the attic. Bring it up to modern standard. Well, she had an insulation contractor out there who got up in the attic and convinced her that her roof was caving in.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, oh my God, because this house was built in the 20s
Okay.
at the latest. That's the newest it could possibly be.
Gotcha.
Because we had rough sawn lumber, 2x6s, 2 foot on center, common practice by then. Hipped roof.
Yes.
Everything's coming in to one ridge beam, and the house had been remodeled at some point, and in my opinion, they did a pretty darn good job with it.
Okay.
But in her opinion, no, everything is messed up.
Okay.
It's one of those owners who's like, nothing's right.
Okay.
Well, for some,
But she didn't get a home inspection when she bought
No.
this house.
No.
Okay.
And apparently, she used my home inspection report as a oh, you all had a home inspection? I'll just take that. Well, we state clearly, all home inspectors, if you're an inspector out there and you don't have clauses in your report that say this is not for a third party, you better add that to your list of disclaimers. Yeah, so, everything is standard. In fact, when the home was remodeled back 5 or 6 years ago, because I asked about a little of the history when I originally did the home inspection.
Right.
They actually added purlin supports, which those are the supports you put in mid-span of a rafter to keep them from sagging, because that'll happen on some of these older roof lines.
Right.
And so they did that. There were newer purlin supports to help stabilize the attic, even make it stronger, because they were 2 foot on center were the rafters and all that. And I mean, nothing really to complain about. But for some reason, this homeowner, this insulation contractor, went up in the attic, who was just supposed to blow insulation.
Right.
Told her that her roof was caving in. Of course, these are her words,
Okay. Yeah.
right? Oh, it's caving in. I got to have the roof rebuilt. I'm going to have to get somebody out here to build me a new roof because it's about to fall in, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I never try to, in the initial contact, I
Right.
never try to be adversarial. I'm like, wow. I usually kind of like, man, are you serious?
Right.
No way, really? Well, how about this? How about I come out there later this afternoon and we'll take a look at it and we'll kind of discuss what's going on. Okay, sure, right? So there we go. That's the initial reaction you want to have when you have a call like that. Well, I got through my inspection that morning. It was lunchtime, and I was like, hey, do you mind if I come over in about 30 minutes? And this, that. Oh, she actually asked, do you know of a roofer that you could recommend?
Okay.
And I was like,
Do I
This
want
is
to
a tough
recommend
one.
someone on this or
I
not?
have to be careful with this
Yes.
because
Yes.
I've done this before. I've recommended a couple of times in my past a foundation specialist.
Right.
And there was a plumber. It wasn't KT Plumbing. They were
Okay.
great, but in previous situations, recommended folks for people, and they've gone out there and scared the dickens out of the homeowner.
Yes.
And I'm like, you're not helping our cause.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the problem was, I recommended a roofer who actually is a former partner of this show,
Okay.
and problem is, she calls with the same inflection and the same description of, my roof's caving in. I had a contractor out here who said the roof's caving in and this, that, and the other. I have a home inspection report here, and that home inspector says I need to call you,
Okay.
and we need to do something to rebuild my roof. Well, the roofing companies handle the shingles.
Right.
They don't reframe a roof.
Right.
So their reaction was, well, you're going to need an engineer out there we won't go out there unless somebody has gone out there and ensured that the attic is structurally sound.
Right. Makes
And
sense.
It does, because they're not going to put a roof on.
Yeah. Why replace the roof, the shingles, if everything else is going to have to be replaced anyway?
Yeah. And they're not going to help with what the attic looks like because they
Right.
don't handle the framing part of it. So they suggested a structural engineer get out there and put a stamp on the way everything was designed. That turned out to be $750, according to her, because when I called her later that afternoon to say, hey, I can come out now, she was like, don't worry about coming out. The roofer said I need to get a structural engineer, and the structural engineer won't come out unless I pay $750.
Right.
And I I want to know your insurance company and your license number because I'm filing a complaint. And I'm like, how about I just come out there and try to walk you through this and she'd had none of it. So
she somehow thought you're at fault, although she didn't pay for a home inspection.
yeah, so she was asking for my insurance company and my license number and all that. And I'm like, well, you know what? I can't be of any further assistance to you because
You're not my
you
client.
never contracted me for services.
You were never my client.
And her response was, I'll see you in court. And I'm like, I just didn't respond. So, but yeah, I mean, but here's the deal. My whole point of bringing that up is when we do stuff like this is free consultation, if you will, for homeowners to kind of, we take at least one or two topics every week and explain things. And we try to do it in a way that a homeowner would understand. If she just had a simple understanding of basic roof design or attic structure and design and how it's changed over the years,
right,
she would understand, or even this insulation contractor would understand, well, that was kind of over the top.
I'm not a big fan of
Freaking her
contractors that are out there trying to sell other stuff anyway. I mean, that's
and that makes me wonder.
It creates so many problems.
It made me want to go back. I wish I could go back and ask, like, who was that person? What company was it? Was it a general contracting company that might have been trying to sell
honestly,
her?
I'm wondering if it's not. My guess was it's a general contractor and not a insulation contractor, because if they were hired to install insulation, why in the world are they looking at the rafters or whatever else?
That's a very good point.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If I see something that's obvious, I'm going to bring it to someone's attention. If I see something that's dangerous but I mean, from what I'm hearing, this isn't sounding like the roof was really
She
caving
even
in.
goes, and he was up there and he made a video for me. And I'll send you the video he made so you can have an understanding of. There's only 1-inch boards holding up my roof. And I was thinking on the phone in my head, if there's 1-inch boards up there holding, your roof wouldn't be up there.
Right.
After 100 years.
Yeah.
So she sent me the video, and I saw the video of the same attic structure that I saw when I was there on the day of the inspection.
Right. I wonder if it was the slats, the wood slats, like 1-inch wood slats.
I think that's what it was.
That's probably what it is.
It had skip sheathing.
Okay.
You know, the wood, 1-inch woods. That's what I figured she was talking. And what I was going to do is explain to her that that's fine.
Yeah.
That was commonplace. And in some places, at least I could tell from the video, that there was plywood in place.
Okay.
In some place. And in fact, I believe they went through and resheathed the roof, but kept the slats on.
I got
like
you.
they did on my original house. I had an old arts and crafts house that was built with that. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that being there. Yes. If you're replacing the roof, okay, it might be a good idea to put, sheeting down, which is fine. But yeah, if she's talking about 1-inch boards, that's the only thing I could think of. If she's talking about before they put OSB, before they put roof sheathing up,
which is even thicker than the roof sheathing we put up now.
Correct.
So, and that would have been nice to just explain that. But I guess she'd rather have us spend $750 to have an engineer go out there and tell her exactly what I would say to her for free. I was trying to do that as a courtesy just because I had been in the house before, and here was a homeowner that I felt was being taken advantage of.
Right.
Yeah, because of a contractor. This is one of the reasons why I started doing home inspections, because as a sales rep for a home improvement company, I was seeing a lot of dirty stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
Not with the company I was working for, but a lot of the people I was trying to sell against.
Right.
And it was frustrating me. And, and I'd see, it's kind of like, getting work done in your house.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of like getting work done in your car. Not everyone knows the ins and outs of your car. Mm-hmm. All cars are different. Mm-hmm. Not everyone knows. So they trust their mechanic. When their mechanic tells them, hey, this is going to need to be done, they have no other choice but to trust that.
Right. Same
thing with the contract. It's good to have a good contractor you can trust. So, yeah. And that's what I like about this job. Which leads me to our photo from the field this week.
The photo from the field.
What are you looking at?
This
I
one?
know what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I put this photo out there, and I was like, okay, so what's the deal with this? Why would this floor mat be an issue? It's very interesting. I got a call from a homeowner. This person was buying the house. They had already had a home inspection done, and but they wanted me to come out and do a mold test.
Okay.
Because actually flip to the next photo. The home inspector and the pest inspector found this area under the kitchen.
Okay.
It had, see that black moldy look there that's collecting on the subfloor? And
now, was this under the mat or was this under the cabinet?
that was literally under the mat.
It was under the mat.
Yeah. So if you see where that duct is, and then you go back to the picture. So folks that are listening to the podcast, we have two pictures. One, it's a kitchen sink with an exhaust vent that's built into or a supply vent, is HVAC vent built into the toe kick, if you will. And then there's one of these really thick industrial, like restaurant type thick mats in front of the kitchen sink. And then I went under the house. I was doing a mold test on this house. This is because the home inspector said, I see mold.
Yes.
Right? And so did the pest person and all this other stuff. And they knew there was a history of moisture under the house. And they wanted somebody to go out there to do a mold test. So I was like, I can do one. I can do a spore trap analysis is what they wanted, which is good because if they did a probe test or a swab test, it's going to be mold.
In that spot, yes, absolutely.
What we want to know is what's going on in the house.
Right.
So anyway, I went out there, and the mold test was as clear as can be. I mean, there was mold in the house, but it was like 6% of what was outside. So
okay.
We're good. I went under the house and saw that, and went into the house and saw this mat, and I was like, you know what I bet is happening? I bet this mat is holding, keeping moisture down against that sheathing, the floor sheathing underneath that area. It's kind of it may not be keeping it moist, but it's moist enough where mold spores are allowed to bloom.
Well, there's a reason I asked the question that I asked. Was it under the mat? Do you know for a fact it was under the mat? Because just because that register goes up in that one spot does not mean it's going straight to that vent.
That's a good point.
Because I tell you
what,
if I saw this, I tell you what my guess would be.
Yeah.
What year was this house built?
2004 or 5, something around there.
Yeah. What
Shane's going to tell me what neighborhood it's in now.
I'm going to tell you what I think the problem is.
Yeah.
In that time period, and I think we've probably talked about it once or twice, what a lot of HVAC contractors did was use the chase underneath the cabinet as a
duct,
as a chase to get the. So there's not a pipe going from point A to point B, not going from the ductwork to that. Therefore, and this is and I've seen this a lot in the summer when the AC's running, all that damp air stays under that cabinet.
It doesn't get out of there
and
like it should.
It doesn't leave. Now in the winter, it will dry up. So it could be that it's under the cabinet. That's why I was asking.
That's a very good
because
point.
If you go under there and you see that register go up, yes, you assume it goes right to that. But a lot of times, what they did at that time, and people don't do it as much anymore, and
because we've learned,
we've learned over the years. Okay, don't do this because. I was building before the housing market crashed, so this was in the time that I was building.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it just like every other builder around here was doing it. Is you just run a register up under that cabinet, anywhere under that cabinet, then they put the cabinet in, and you just cut in the register on the front of it, and it's coming out. So I would be willing to bet it's actually under the cabinet, not under that mat. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it can't be the mat, but I've never seen a mat hold it. But then again, we don't see mats as often as we see the cabinets.
Yes.
So usually
that would make more sense.
Usually, whenever I've seen this, it's actually the cabinet. And at that time, because that was before people realized this is creating problems.
Yeah.
So that would be my guess.
Cool.
But I just
share that information.
It's just one of those. I was looking at it. I was like, okay, are we sure or positive? I mean, and a lot of times under a house, it's hard to tell unless maybe that kitchen sink there is above a window, or below a window. So that would mean it's at the exterior of the house, so you can tell how far it is.
This was on a peninsula. You know what we need to do is I need to tell them to go back there, take that register grill off, and look inside.
Yeah, that would be the thing to do.
Because I've seen that at like bathroom vanities as well.
Yeah, and I think that's what you got. I think it's the underneath that cabinet. And actually, I've got
which is an easy fix.
I got one that's coming through. It's an easy fix to fix that, but the problem is the other problems that have ended up being created in the meantime.
Yeah.
But I've got one with I've had them where the whole kitchen floor along the back of the house was all rotted out. I've had them. I'm in one right now. It's actually it was an insurance claim for something else, but when they pulled up the floor, they discovered the same thing under the floor there, that it was right now. So it's actually good that the other thing, the laundry room leak, happened because it helped to discover this other thing.
The other issue. That's interesting.
So
So I guess these homeowners were lucky that it wasn't worse. You've seen a lot worse.
Oh yeah,
in this type of situation.
Yeah. And honestly, if you get that cleaned up and treat it and move that register out of that cabinet, just put something, or you can leave it there as long as it's sealed off.
Yeah.
And just put a register somewhere else in the floor in that kitchen and get it out from underneath that cabinet. That problem's gonna go away to an extent. Now,
Well,
if you got high mold levels and all this, there's things to be taken
Yeah.
care of. But yeah, it's gonna get rid of that problem.
There's nothing like that anywhere else in the entire crawl space. Which was interesting. It was that spot.
Yep.
And
you said this was a
that's
peninsula.
and it was on a peninsula. So there's really, in my opinion, no reason to have a supply duct in the middle of the room. Usually you want it around the perimeter.
Right.
Why not move it to an exterior wall, like in the dining area that's on the other side of that peninsula or something like that? Makes sense.
Yeah, they use that cabinet for a chase, and it's just
See,
damp air just stays there.
a couple of really practical answers to some issues that at this point, or at least for this owner, where they were considering whether or not to buy the house or not.
Right.
Or do we have a mold problem? Well, something like that is a simple fix for that. Well, we're going to talk about a simple fix to understanding how your home values work. Things are slowing down in real estate. We were talking before the show about how things are slow on the real estate side. Not a whole lot. I got some statistics to share, some things that hopefully will make you feel better, but make you also understand what the market's doing right now. Good article from U.S. News and World Report about home values and how all of this affects it, and should you be worried. Hopefully we'll be bringing you some good news after this quick break on the Home Pros Radio Show. If you're a home service provider who takes pride in your work and strives to be recognized as a trustworthy professional in your industry, the Home Pros Radio Show wants to hear from you.
Become a Home Pros Radio Show partner. Send us an email at ask@homeprosradio.com.
Your Home Pros Radio Show Expo listing and your featured appearances on our podcast are just the beginning when it comes to the ways that we can help brand your business on the Home Pros Radio Show.
It's a great opportunity. It's just an email away. Ask@homeprosradio.com.
And welcome back to the Home Pros Radio Show. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections, and I find stuff.
And I'm Shane Hips with Closing Contractor, and I fix stuff.
All right, and I found some interesting info that I figured would be worth sharing from the internet, doing some research, doing some show prep this week. The common theme every week, we're talking about the real estate market.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing more and more. Home price, or I guess home sales have slowed, and I've got some statistics here to share. I'm also noticing, at least in our area, a difference in the clientele.
Yes.
It was just in a conversation in between breaks. I was like, so I've had 3 clients from the West Coast, 1 from the Midwest, the upper Midwest, and I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Right.
Most of the folks I'm working for are moving from elsewhere.
Correct.
Coming here. It's rare, it seems, these days that we have people moving within town. And I think the way that the real estate market and the economy's working has a lot to do with that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just like the conversation we had last week. I mean, it doesn't make sense to pay a higher interest rate if you're moving in the same territory. But if you're actually getting a house for less expensive than what your house is where you currently live, it can make sense. Even paying a higher interest rate, you're still getting the house a lot less expensive.
Yeah.
So it still works in that way.
So here are the trends. Well, the article that I have was talking about is your home losing value, and of course that struck my attention because everyone, for most people, it's our biggest investment, right? So it's like, you would want to know. Of course, the market value. This is where it'd be nice to have an appraiser on. The market value of your home is the price a buyer would pay at that moment in time. So of course it fluctuates.
Correct.
The same house might sell for a different amount next year or 10 years from now. Mm-hmm. An appraisal is considered a snapshot of the home's value, and it's usually done during the real estate transaction. Just about every detail in and around your home contributes to that overall value, combined with plenty of other factors. So what are those factors? Well, I like to think of them as factors that you can control as a homeowner, or these factors that you have a say in.
Right.
And then there are factors that you don't have a say in. You're just kind of at the mercy of
the market and the
correct.
Territory, the area,
Yes.
all those good things.
Some of those things that you can control, let's see,
Home value factors.
Yep. Conditions of the home, inside and out. Are you taking care of it? Are you maintaining it? Of course, if your house is in distressed condition, that's a nice way I like to talk.
Distressed.
To talk about it.
It's tore up.
That's something that you can control.
Yeah.
And the value of the home may change based on that. Another thing is the size, how your home compares to other homes that are that similar size, similar age nearby. Is your home the biggest home in the neighborhood? It might be harder for that home to appreciate over time
Correct.
than it will some of the other homes in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Design features that make your home unique for better or worse. I like to think of that. The first thing that comes to mind when I see that, design features.
Pickleball?
Pickleball court. I forgot it, dude. Well, that's a good callback.
Yeah.
That's a feature
what you're
that
referring
it's
to.
like, that's more of a specific. You're looking for a specific
The wrapping
homeowner
paper
want.
room.
Yeah.
The wrapping room.
Some other things that I was thinking of features like split level homes.
Okay.
They tend to struggle selling a little bit more because the floor plan's different. Some people don't want to go upstairs everywhere they go in the house.
Mm-hmm.
But or if there's a design in the home. Ginger, I know that you've got some things that you're like, I will not have this in my home. Whether it's, I'm trying to think of, it's funny because, I put you on the spot. It's kind of hard to remember them right offhand.
Right.
But there are certain design features, the way the layout is, or if the house is, if the floor plan isn't open or something like, it could be that kind of a design feature.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the location of your home. Everything with real estate is location, location, location.
Yeah. Design features, you could go like the sunken living room. Although they
Correct.
said that's
Yeah.
coming back, but
Yeah, we were talking
I
about
don't
that a
know
couple
how
weeks
much it
ago,
was.
too. That's another one that's a trendy design feature. I don't know. I could think of some others if I had more time. HOAs, where there's an HOA involved in the house or in the neighborhood. But then there are factors that you don't have as much control over, that you're kind of at the mercy of.
Right.
There are external factors that homeowners have no ability to control. Those are things like the current housing market conditions, which we'll talk about, mortgage interest rates, which we've been talking about,
correct.
and other economic factors.
Yes.
So these are all things to, when considering your home's value, homeowners should determine how all of those factors weigh in. So is the current market affecting your home's value? Well, here's what it looks like right now, according to this latest report. Past 2 years, overall, home values have been increasing.
Correct.
All right. In 2021, I got some stats for you. 2021, home prices increased 16.9%, according to the National Association of Realtors. So that's the strongest price appreciation on record for homes over a 2-year period. in recent times. That growth has significantly slowed, but prices are still higher than the year before. Redfin reports the median home price in the U.S. in September was $400,000, a 7.6% increase compared to September of 2021. So it's still going up, but it's not.
It's still going up, just not as fast. And I mean, I think we were so spoiled by it climbing so fast. Once it slows down, you feel like it's dropping, but it's really not. It's,
and a lot of that
the value's still going up.
A lot of that had to do with inventory, I believe.
Right.
And the builders got they got a clue and got out there and started building. So
Absolutely.
I see that, and I see those stats, and I'm thinking, you know what? When I drive through neighborhoods, I do see more and more for sale signs.
Right.
So that makes sense. Now, another factor: high interest rates combined with high prices have placed a crunch on affordability. So even though those prices have slowed, those increases have slowed, it doesn't help that the interest rates have gone up.
Correct.
So many buyers have opted to not purchase right now, at least, especially moving in the same market. That's why I was mentioning earlier. I think pretty much everyone I'm dealing with, it seems these days, is coming from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Coming from another location where the cost of living is higher.
Correct.
The biggest change in the housing market has been the decrease in deals taking place. That's what I'm seeing. September saw more than a 23% drop taking place compared to September of 2021. That's a big amount. So that means it's unclear if one of the scenarios are it's unclear. They're thinking one of these three scenarios are in place. Prices will drop to more accurate or levels to reflect home values more accurately, or the prices will plateau for a period of time, or prices and thus values will continue to climb, but even at a slower pace.
Yes.
So it's
Okay.
kind of one of those things we're waiting to see.
Right.
So houses that are on the market are experiencing a modest increase in the average days on market. That's why I feel like I'm starting to see more for sale signs in neighborhoods. And so that is one of the things that the experts will be trying to determine over the next few months. So what can you do to control whether your house is losing its value? Chances are it's not. It's just slowing down.
Right.
Maybe stabilizing. But there are some things that you can ensure that your home does not drop in value. And we've got a nice little bullet point here, a listicle, if you will.
Yes.
That's what I like to call it. And one of the things you want to do is keep your kitchen and bathroom current. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can get mixed opinions on that one.
Oh, really?
Well, in my opinion, yeah. I mean, believe me, I want people to. I'm a contractor. I want you to do this.
Yeah.
But if you're putting more in updating your kitchen than the value that it's going to maintain.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
that's what you have to
It
consider.
comes down to ROI. I mean, it all comes down to return on investment. Now, if you're planning on living in the house 10 more years and you think it needs to be updated, by all means do it, because that way you can enjoy it for the next 10 years before you sell the house.
That's it.
But if you're getting ready to sell it right now, I don't know that would be a good move.
That's true.
But yeah, it absolutely will help maintain the value. It just comes down to, is it helping enough to cover the investment of doing it in the first place?
Like if you turn around to sell the house, don't worry about putting new countertops in.
Correct.
If you're living in the home, though, go ahead and fix that. Replace that oven if it's
If
not
it
doing
doesn't
very
work,
well.
if it doesn't work, quit using it as a Tupperware store in place. Get rid of it.
yeah. Don't if you have tile countertops, that's 90s if I've ever seen it. Or what is it? Brass, gold fixtures.
Oh, yeah.
Plumbing fixtures. Go ahead and change them if you don't like them.
Yeah.
So,
Those are coming back around, though. Everything always comes back around.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I'm talking too soon.
You'll see them all over the place this year.
Now that I've said it.
Yeah.
Another thing you could do is check your home's major systems. Just maintain them. Make sure that they're checked on a regular basis. Your heating and cooling, your roof, your plumbing, electrical. They're imperative to make your home run properly. And here's the thing. It's not as flashy as replacing those countertops and putting in new appliances. But I would say it's more important to make sure those systems are working right, because that can sneak up on you.
Yeah. I agree.
There are plenty of times I've updated stuff in my house, and I'm like, yeah, but that's not going to do anything to no one ever is going to walk into my house and go, all right, this house has a refrigerator water line hookup. My house didn't have one because it was built in the 60s, but I put one in just for convenience.
Yeah.
Some of those things are nice to have, though. Let's see. Well, here's the other thing. If you're going to list a property, this is a little plug for home inspections. Know the condition of those things before you do sell the property. That way, you can be on top of anything that might otherwise sneak up on you. So have that pre-listing inspection done. Care about curb appeal. That is so important.
Yeah. Yes.
It seems trivial, but if you have a well-manicured lawn and the shrubs are nice and the landscape design makes sense, your house compared to another house down the street that's
It's gonna show
same
really
size and price is going to be more attractive to a potential buyer. You see here a common thread here. I think we've covered this before on
What's
the
that?
show. Just these types of things
Oh, yeah.
that you want to do I think we've covered this when we've talked about ways that you can make your home more attractive to potential
To sell.
buyers.
Yeah, yeah.
And then one other thing here, acknowledge design flaws. That goes back to your pickleball court or your, there are certain things you can't change. Like, if you have a split level floor plan, you've got a split level floor plan.
Correct.
So there's, if you can change some things, maybe turn that pickleball court into an outdoor living space.
Yes,
Or,
perfect.
But, there are things like, not having an open floor plan. It's, you can't go change that, but at least keep that in consideration when valuing your home.
Right.
So you don't overvalue it. If the house down the street is selling for $50,000 more, it may be because
Yeah.
of things that are out of your control with your
Yeah,
design.
I'm sure the appraisers love it when they say, "Well, the house down the street sold for $110 a foot, and mine's valued at $90 a foot." Your house ain't the same house as the one down the
Yeah.
street. So,
Well, my house
we
has 3
understand.
bedrooms too. Well, that third bedroom in your house is just way too small. You can barely fit a race car bed in it. So, or the kitchen could be on the second floor. So, those
Yeah,
types
yeah.
of things. The laundry downstairs by the, nowadays everyone wants their laundry upstairs where all the bedrooms are, which makes sense. But
yeah,
older homes, they were always by the garage.
in the unfinished basement, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like I wouldn't want to go down there and
Yep.
do lunch.
So accept that the design of the home means it may be worth a little less, and it'll make it easier for you to realistically get the most value out of your home if you're realistic about it. So those are the things to consider. Hopefully, now that we're past another election, that might change. It's usually this time of year, whenever we have an election, things slow down and really everyone's like, "Oh, let's see what happens. Is the country going to implode or not?"
Yeah.
So hopefully, everyone's thoughts, feelings, and future projections of what's in store will be better moving forward. Because I don't like it when it gets like this.
Yeah.
I don't like it when it gets slow.
Yeah, I don't really care
Not
for it myself.
fun. I'd rather be busy. Mm-hmm. So everything seems to not go as fast when you're slower. Mm-hmm. That would make sense.
Not
anyway, being redundant. When I used to work in restaurants, I used to always love it when I was busy because
Right.
the day just. Whew.
Oh yeah, fly by.
But the last thing I wanted to do was sit there waiting for someone to come in.
Mm-hmm.
But, hopefully that'll help. We're going to take a quick break right here on the Home Pros Radio Show. When we come back, we're going to be talking about, speaking of houses on the market, we got a famous house on the market. It's the Brady house.
Ooh.
Not the Brady Bunch.
Okay, not the Brady Bunch house.
This is Tom Brady and Giselle Bundchen's house in Tampa Bay.
Okay.
We're going to take a look at that when we come back. It's the house they rented. It's pretty slick. Plus, we have an update from last week's story. There's a house in California. They found a car buried in the backyard.
Yes.
We have a little information about what was going on with that.
Okay.
So we'll share that plus more when we come back on the news desk on the Home Pros Radio Show. Thanks for watching the Home Pros Radio Show. Shane and I would love to know what you think of the show, so we'd like to invite you to leave us a review.
At the Home Pros Radio Show, it's our goal to keep homeowners entertained, inspired, and informed. So let us know how we're doing.
Your review helps us ensure that we're including the content you want to hear and that we're reaching out to more homeowners just like you.
So click on that review button and tell us what you think.
Your relationship with your home is an emotional one. Your home provides a sense of pride for you and your family. Through ongoing training, past experience, and current technology, RIC Home Inspections can provide you with the most reliable and accurate information available so you can enjoy the rewards of your home ownership. Call RIC Home Inspections at 235-5505 or visit us online at richomeinspections.com. That's 235-5505. RIC Home Inspections. Love where you live.
The Home Pros Radio Show is brought to you in part by Screen Mobile of the Piedmont. Established in 1982, Screen Mobile National has been around that long, and they're the nation's largest screen installation and repair company. They offer many different options for windows, screens, whether it's a corporate location or even a home residential location. They can bring their mobile units out to you and repair your screens, replace them, or even create a whole outdoor environment that you can use to keep the bugs out with their screens.
I've always been impressed with the tent one, the one
Yeah.
that keeps your siding from melting or your neighbor's siding from melting.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's saying tint with an I to help cool things down. Yeah, for those of you who are not in the
Not from
South.
South Carolina.
Exactly. And that'll protect, some of your outdoor building products like your siding from melting. That's a good point. I never
It's
even
not
thought
always a
about that.
grill. It can be a window.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So give Screen Mobile a call. There's a Screen Mobile in your area. You can visit them online at screenmobile.com. If you're in the upstate of South Carolina, call Screen Mobile of the Piedmont, 864-641-7476. And welcome back to the Home Pros Radio Show. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections.
And I'm Shane Hips with Closing Contractor.
And that's who we have. That's our cast of characters. You know what it's time for. It's time for the Home Pros Radio Show News Desk. Okay, so last week we were talking about...
The typewriter. I'm still
Oh, yeah.
typing. Don't bother me yet.
All right. Last week we were talking about... there was one news story where we had a squatter in a house in Massachusetts. Was it Massachusetts? And home buyers were moving in. And
Yeah.
Well, we have another squatter story. This
Oh,
one's
boy.
interesting. So this was... Wait, this is in Massachusetts. No, the other one was Maryland. Check out this chick.
Oh, God.
I know, right? We have a woman in a bee suit, for those of y'all listening to the podcast.
Oh, is that?
She's in a beekeeper
I didn't know
suit.
if it was a beekeeper suit. I sort of thought she was in a straitjacket with a spit mask on. I couldn't tell what was going on here.
That's right.
I was like,
They found Hannibal Lecter.
yeah.
That's what it looks like. That's because she's in handcuffs.
Okay.
So what we have here is a woman in Massachusetts who was being evicted, and she released a swarm of bees on sheriff's deputies.
Oh, okay.
That was her way of trying to defend herself.
She was like, I'm going to turn these bees loose on you.
Yeah. Rory S. Woods arrived. I guess this is what I don't understand. They showed up to the house to evict her, but then they said she arrived in an SUV towing a trailer. Sounds like she wasn't in the house.
She was coming home.
Okay. Well, she arrived in a trailer carrying beehives
Okay.
and started shaking them.
She said,
She broke the cover off of one and caused hundreds of bees to swarm out and initially stung one deputy, according to the report. Woods, who put on a beekeeper suit to protect herself, was eventually handcuffed. That's what you see behind us here, but not before several more sheriff's department employees were stung. I guess it turned into a, it was a normal serving a warrant
sting.
turned into a sting operation. Oh, where's our
It
rim
definitely
shot
sounds
when we
like a
need it?
sting
A sting
operation.
operation, right? A sting operation. There we go.
that was fabulous.
All right. When Woods was told that several officers were allergic, she said, "Oh, you're allergic? Good.
I'm going to get more of my bees out.
All right." Ah, that's mean. We had a court order that's been presented to us, and it's our job to effectuate the court order. It was Miss Woods, who arrival in her vehicle and her trailer that really caused things to go haywire here. So.
Well, you can see the hives in the picture back
Yep, right
at the
back there.
back.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice house.
Yeah, it is a nice house.
Yeah, can't tell a whole lot about it, but I can, tell a little bit from it.
So Rory Woods is now facing multiple assault and battery charges,
Assault and battery with bees.
including disturbing the bees,
Oh, boy.
BWI, indecent exposure. Am I getting it? No? No. What about this one? Embezzlement. No? All right. All right. We'll just throw that one away. We're done with that story. I think we milked it for all we could.
That's all we can get out of that.
It's all right. All right, next story. How about this one? All right, so we have a
Okay.
follow-up to this house in California. Let's see. 3 decades
Yes.
ago, that car was buried. They
Okay.
had determined. So there's this car in Northern California. The police were digging. They had a landscaping contractor at a house, very nice house in where is it? Atherton in Silicon Valley.
Mm-hmm.
It was a $15 million mansion. The homeowners were getting some landscaping work done. They start digging. They find about 4 feet deep. They find 4 to 5 feet deep in the backyard a car that had been buried. They're thinking somewhere around 1990s before the current owners bought the home.
Okay.
So they excavated the car. They found out the car was reported stolen in September 1992 in Palo Alto, California.
Okay.
And police say they're they say that they're digging the missing convertible. They dug the convertible out of the $15 million mansion built by a man with a history of arrests and murder.
The man that built the house?
There's a history, of arrests for murder, attempted murder, and insurance fraud.
Okay.
So there is some crime involved. It was a Mercedes, a convertible. I guess it's convertible now. A convertible Mercedes-Benz filled with bags of concrete.
So they go after the guy that built the house?
I don't know. Well, apparently he's already in jail.
Okay.
He's a man with a history of arrests for murder, attempted murder, and insurance fraud. I guess I could have looked into this more. Although cadaver dogs alerted to possible human remains, I believe we mentioned that last week, none had been found.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's it. So there's a little bit more information at least.
Yeah.
So I find that interesting.
That's
kinda
that's a
creepy.
pretty interesting story, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about that? Finding that in your backyard.
I started watching Dahmer.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Well, I've only watched
gruesome, I
I've
hear.
only watched 1.5 episodes so far because I started dozing off during the second one, so I had
Yeah.
to stop.
I heard the first one is gruesome. The first episode.
It's I mean, I don't know. I didn't think it was that gruesome. Not that I'm like into that stuff
Yeah.
or whatever, but yeah, but I already know. Well, he's a serial killer. I know it's not going to be G-rated.
Yeah.
I know there's going to be some stuff going on, but yeah, I did start watching it. Speaking of, the guy for murder and all that fun stuff, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you were doing instead of handing out trick-or-treat candy?
No, I was watching football instead of that. But I started Dahmer last night.
Oh, I gotcha.
So yeah.
Let me know how it ends.
Okay. I got a feeling I can tell you.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
All right, here's our last story of the day. This one's a lot lighter.
Yeah.
I always like
You
looking
didn't get
at-
the tune.
Always like what?
I figured you'd play the song.
Oh, the
Here's
Brady Bunch?
story.
Oh, dude, I wish I would have thought about that. No, I don't have it. Doggone it. The Brady Bunch theme. Because this is Tom Brady and Giselle Bundchen's house. This is the home that Brady rented while playing for the Tampa Bay Bucks
Okay.
in Tampa. It's on the market. This is a nice little photo. This is a very contemporary style home. Pretty slick looking. Definitely not real grass in the backyard.
Definitely not real grass.
That's
huh?
not real. Grass is not that green and lush in Florida.
Right.
That's got to be fake.
Fake grass.
So, yeah. Beautiful house, though. For the last 2 years, Brady and Bundchen rented the home. It's a 6-bedroom, 6-bath contemporary estate in Davis Islands. 6,500 square foot home. Open bay views and was custom built in 2019. So I got several photos to share of it. Some
Okay.
interior shots. There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
shot of, check out the shot out the backyard. See, that's got to be fake
Oh, yeah.
grass.
Yeah.
But it's got a boat dock. Check out the boat there. That's a good size.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That boat, it's got to be on a lift. That's why it looks so big. Because it's not like it looks like it could be a yacht, but it's not.
Yeah, I don't
That
know.
looks like maybe a 20-something foot boat.
Yeah.
Jet boat or ski boat. Anyway, open concept includes a wine cellar and elevator, chef's kitchen with marble countertops. The Realtor.com says they were renting the home while Tom and Giselle were building their still incomplete mega mansion. I have a feeling they probably won't be completing it at this
Right.
point. Kind of sad.
Nope.
The house is listed for. I always like looking at homes that I'll never be able to afford. $12.5 million.
Yeah. That's a
So-
good-looking house. Good-looking yard.
Yeah.
I like it.
So the couple moved into this home after they realized the waterfront Tampa. See, now that house, it doesn't seem too private. At least the previous photo, the initial photo.
Right. Yeah, you got houses right next to you.
Yeah, and I feel like you go out and I saw that and I was thinking, there's no way I could do that because I feel like every time I'm out in the backyard, everyone in the neighborhood could see me. But apparently, the couple moved into this house because the one that they were, I don't know if you heard about the one that they were living in that Derek Jeter previously lived in.
I don't think I did.
It was called St. Jetersburg. Ha ha! Isn't that great? St. Jetersburg. Isn't that not funny? Didn't offer them much privacy.
Okay.
So,
but this one does.
I know. I don't
Okay.
know how. You got a custom pool, a spa, a private dock, and a boat lift. Pretty sweet. The primary suite comes with a connected office, 13-foot high floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Tampa Bay. Brady and Bunchen have posted multiple videos and photos of them inside the home with their children. I guess if you follow them on social media, you may have seen them.
Okay.
So, but yeah. But what was it? $12.5 million in Tampa Bay.
It's a good-looking house.
Go ahead and grab yourself a couple of those.
Absolutely.
That's right. So that's it for the news desk this week. I got to get on my right screen here.
There you go.
Imagine looking out that window
Yeah.
every morning. It's pretty.
That's definitely a nice view there.
Yeah, you know what it's time for?
Gentlemen,
What did we learn on the show today? Did we learn anything? We learned that I'll never be able to afford a Tampa Tom Brady's old house. What they were calling it, Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah. We also learned that bees are not going to rescue you if you're trying to squat in a house. You can't get away.
Yep.
The cops will get
They'll
you.
get
They
you
always
anyway.
win. That's right. That's it. And we also learned that crime doesn't pay. It'll eventually show up.
Yep, absolutely not.
Your dirty work will eventually be found by landscapers
Mm-hmm.
getting ready to put in your new exterior low voltage lighting.
Yeah,
what
I
they're
don't
doing.
know what they were digging down 4 feet for, but hey.
I know that's pretty deep. They must have been putting it in a pool or something.
Yeah, or
'Cause
a water
normally,
feature of some
it
sort.
wasn't a sprinkler system, I can tell you that. No, it wasn't. We learned about the different factors that are involved with your home's value, things that you can control. Things that you can't control are things like your maintenance on the house.
Correct.
Yeah, the conditions of your kitchen and your appliances. You know, if they're getting outdated, replace them. I remember when I was redoing my kitchen, we were dealing with an interior decorator. What are you shaking your head for over there?
Because we got new appliances and we should.
Oh, we did get new appliances. I was going to talk about our backsplash. We were going to do a backsplash, and the interior designer goes, we were like, we're going to do the glass tiles. We think those look cool. She was like, don't do that.
She said, don't do it.
Yeah, because she was like, there will be a time when people are like, oh, they redid this one back in like 2008. didn't
Right.
they?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there are certain trends that might be nice, but if you go real trendy, be prepared to replace them, especially if you want to maintain your home's value. Because how many times did we talk about, I did a house just recently that had pink tile in the bathroom.
Okay. Pepto-Bismol?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just like, wow, they could have avoided that. Other things you can control is the conditions of your home, your curb appeal, things that are just simple maintenance issues. Taking care of your plumbing and electrical, having your HVAC serviced, extending the life of it, just basically fixing things when they break.
Right.
Just maintain things you can't control. I should do my ring. Things you can't control would be things like spending, inflation.
Yeah, you can't control that
Yeah,
one.
I can't. Things like interest rates, and of course, there are the features that are built into your house that aren't easy to change, like the floor plan. But those should be baked into your home's value from when you purchased it anyway.
Correct.
All right. We also learned that it's good to just keep well informed as a homeowner because, we told the story at the first segment of the show. Poor homeowner who has been misled by a contractor who is probably going to end up dumping more money into stuff than she really needs to because she's been fired up by a contractor who is just trying to upsell their work.
Yeah, and once the homeowner gets out on that limb, it's hard to reel them back in off of that limb.
Yeah,
too.
well,
So,
she
I
also
mean,
had people that were willing to help her to kind of understand.
yeah, walk her through the process.
She wouldn't have anything of that.
Yeah,
So sometimes it's really good. You gotta, like with home improvement, real estate, just like anything else, you gotta carefully choose the sources that
Yeah.
you feel like you should trust.
yes, and yeah. Anytime you get a salesman out there, someone that's trying to sell something, it can definitely spin things out of control.
Yeah.
And I mean but it happens way too often in our business. I mean, we've talked about that on shows before.
I've done it before where I've had a homeowner go, well, you said in the report that the moisture levels were fine in the crawl space. And I'm like, well, I didn't take a moisture reading, but
Right.
visually, everything was dry.
Right.
Well, the pest guy said this.
Right.
And they're saying I need the sump pump and the French drain and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Well,
covered
why would
that.
they say that? Well, and then I asked the homeowner, who did they recommend could install the
Right.
And
right.
they went, oh.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean we covered that with the free inspections. Our inspections really
Oh,
free.
yeah, we
Our
did.
free inspections really free. I mean,
Yeah,
or
that's
are
it.
they trying to sell something?
So those are some things to think about that we've learned, and hopefully you found those things helpful as well. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to shoot us an email, ask@homeprosradio.com. We'd love to hear from you. But until next time, feel free to follow us at Home Pros Radio, is where you can find us on social media. At Home Pros Radio, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, your social media platform of your choice. Make sure you follow us and subscribe and keep in touch. Let us know how things are going. And until next week, we hope you have a good one. We hope you have a happy home. And then we'll check in next time on the Home Pros Radio Show.
Thank you for listening to the Home Pros Radio Show. If you have a question for the Home Pros, visit us online at homeprosradio.com, where you can also catch our podcast episodes and learn more about the topics and guests we bring to you each week. The Home Pros Radio Show is made possible by Prime Lending, RIC Home Inspections, Closing Contractor, Radon Recon, and Carolina Heating Service. If you are a trusted service provider in our area and would like to contribute to the show, send us a message through our Contact Us page at homeprosradio.com. Once again, thanks for listening to the Home Pros Radio Show.